Hello, and welcome to a special edition of Top Cheddar Sports. I am Brett,
I'm Victor.
and we're going to be talking that hockey again, like old
Do
time's
that
sake. Yeah, we're going to do that hockey. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, as we enter the home stretch here of the regular season, I want to kind of take a look at the current awards, the bigger ones, and kind of talk about where the hockey writers currently have their finalists at, and if we agree or not, and who our own finalists are to this point in the season.
Considering we're just over 3/4 of the season played, just about 20 games or slightly less left for every team, so we're getting down there. Not too much might change from here on out.
Yeah, should stay pretty similar. There are a couple. I mean, it is subject to change, obviously, and we will kind of recap this again right before the awards, but for now, once we do know the finalized finalists. But for right now, let's get right into it. Let's start with the Vezina Trophy, awarded to the best goaltender. Currently, the hockey writers have Andrei Vasilevsky as the favorite, winning 75 points, we'll call it.
75 votes.
Yes. Tuukka Rask is second at 63, and then Ben Bishop at 49 is third.
Yep.
I'll let you start on this one.
Vass, I absolutely love that he is Tampa's goalie as a Tampa fan. That being said, he has no right being here this year. In my mind, he is here for his wins and his incredible stretch where he went 20-0-2 as a starter during that stretch. But outside of that streak, his numbers just aren't there this year. And also, once that streak ended, he allowed 16 goals across 3 games in 5, 7, and 4. So overall, he's not top 10 in save percentage, not top 10 in goals allowed average per game, not top 10 in shutouts. So really, as much as I love him, he has no right being here and is not in my list of 3.
Well, we all know the hockey writers love wins. Every year, the Vezina seems to go to a goalie that is at least top 3 in wins, top 2 in wins even. Which is why I believe Vasilevsky is here. As you mentioned, he does lead the league in wins.
Correct.
I'm okay with him being in the top 3 for that reason. One person I do think they missed, Tuukka Rask, by the way, certainly should be here.
Absolutely.
One of the best in terms of goals against average and save percentage when you look at like the starters in the league. So certainly deserving. Ben Bishop, I do not agree with. I think a guy that's overlooked here is Connor Hellebuyck. Now, his stats have taken a hit since his hot start, but with that said, he still is tied for first in the league in shutouts, and he is second in wins in the league as well, which, again, the hockey writers love. So I think Hellebuyck should be a finalist. However, I believe Tuukka Rask should win this award this year.
Okay. See, I'm looking at as not who I think will win, but who I think should win. To me, Hellebuyck is just a slight step under Vass. He's there for his wins at this point. His numbers have decreased. My 3 finalists, because I'm not looking at wins, which we know they look at, are I agree with Bishop. I obviously agree with Rask. I believe at this point in time, Rask should win it. And I'm going to throw Tristan Jarry out there because he has basically identical numbers to Tuukka Rask. Aside from the games played, he has 10 less games started, and ultimately that'll be what prevents him from getting here. But
you think Rask should win?
I believe Rask should win.
And who do you think will win?
At this point in time, I think by the end of the season, Rask will win.
I think they will give it to Vasilevsky again. But I do think Tuukka Rask definitely should win. And I also just want to give a brief shout out to Elvis Merzlikins, who's also tied. There's 3 people tied for the league in shutouts, which I think is always an overlooked stat when it comes to this award. I don't think the voters give that enough weight because I think it's very hard to get a shutout in this league. So I think it's very impressive when you can lead the league in that category. Marc-Andre Fleury, Connor Hellebuyck, and Elvis all have 5 tied for the league lead. Also 5, Definitely a lower number than we normally see the league leader have. Now, I know there's still 20 games, but that's also an interesting thing.
Nobody
it's pretty low this year.
Should hit double digits at this point.
No chance, yeah. So just a brief shout out there, but for that reason, that is why I think Hellebuck should be here for the shutouts mainly and the wins. But I agree. Tristan Jarry definitely also should get a look. But I think we can both agree Rask should win this award.
Down the stretch, the only thing that I think that might hurt Rask is the Bruins and Tampa are both obviously going to make playoffs. But while the Bruins have that first place over them, they can afford to play Halak more, whereas Tampa will probably be playing Vasilevsky more, getting him more wins, more starts.
I would argue that's why he's second in their eyes right now is, he's been more than a 50-50 split, whereas Vass is getting like 70% of the starts.
Leads the league in starts and in wins, I believe.
Very good point there, yeah. Up next, we'll jump to the Calder Trophy, given to the best rookie.
Very hot debate right now.
Definitely a lot of options here. But as of right now, the writers have first would be Cale Makar. He gets 82 votes. Quinn Hughes, not Jack Hughes, who we thought might be here.
No.
Quinn Hughes at 77, and then Victor Olofsson at 36 is in third place, barely. What's your take on this?
Clearly a big divide between the top two and everybody else.
Seems like a two-horse race here.
Yes.
Yeah.
Shout out to the defenseman for making this, as we see a lot of awards go to forwards whenever it can be compared.
Right.
But I completely agree with how this is playing out right now. I do think Makar deserves it slightly more at this point in time. I know Quinn Hughes has been exceptional. I think that's why it's super close. But I think Makar should win and will win barely at the end of the season.
Yeah, I think it's a shame, first off, that Victor Olofsson got hurt and missed so much time, because had he not, I do think Victor Olofsson might even be winning this race. I mean, he was off to such a hot start, but I mean, he missed time.
Yeah.
So yeah, he should be third. I agree, no doubt. I think Cale Makar deserves this. I think it's interesting and kind of cruel how Cale Makar wasn't an all-star because of how many talented defensemen are in that division. Quinn Hughes was. But with that said, Hughes gets the all-star nod. I think Makar gets the Calder Trophy here. I do want to bring up Dominik Kubalik.
Oh, okay.
Who is top rookie in terms of goals scored. He certainly, you could make an argument, should be a finalist as well. Kind of come out of nowhere for Chicago here. He's a unique rookie, as he's not as young as these other guys. He played overseas, so this is his rookie season in the NHL.
Right.
He's still young, but he's not as young as these other guys, so he's kind of an interesting one. But yeah, I would agree with these three finalists.
Yeah. But shout out to Elvis. We talked about him in the Vezina with his shutouts. Right. He's number 4 here, not too far behind Olofsson, but nobody will catch those two at this point.
So you think Makar should and will win?
Correct.
I agree.
Okay.
Next, let's jump to the Jack Adams Award next. So as of right now, this is to the best coach of the year, and as of right now, we have Mike Sullivan of the Penguins first with 74 votes. John Tortorella of the Blue Jackets second with 56, and Andy Green of the Canucks.
Correct.
35 votes in third place. That's interesting, isn't it?
Yeah.
Very interesting.
I mean, not a lot of people saw the Canucks, just contrary to what Brett had going into the season, not a lot of people had the Canucks in this playoff spot.
I thought they'd be better than they are.
Yeah.
So I don't think he should be here.
Not a lot of people had him, or had the Canucks even in the top 3.
Yeah.
So that's why he's here. What do you think? I've gone first most of the time. What do you think of these?
Sure. I 100% agree John Tortorella should be a finalist. Nobody, and I mean nobody, and their mother would have guessed the Blue Jackets would be as good as they have been this year. Coming into the season, they were expected by many to be last in the Metro and here they are right now in a wild card position or right there. So John Tortorella, hats off to you, phenomenal job. Um, Mike Sullivan has also done a tremendous job with the Penguins. I'll admit, I did not have the Penguins this good at the start of the year. I actually had them fifth in the Metro and just missing the playoffs, so I was way off on that. Yeah, the Pens have had some injuries. I mean, so have the Blue Jackets, so have really every team in the league, but the Pens have had some pretty notable injuries, and they haven't really skipped a beat all year. He's done a great job there. And yeah, I mentioned with Green, I think the Canucks should be better than where they currently are at. So I don't agree that he should be a finalist at all. I really don't.
I don't have him as a finalist. I completely agree with Sullivan and Tortorella. I think Sullivan, at this point in time, should win. It's pretty close. I would say closer than what the experts have the divide at right now between him and Tortorella. I'm going to throw a name out for my third person who I think should be here, and that's Alain Vigneault. For the fact of coming into this season, I had in the Metro, Caps, Pens, Islanders. And just about every year lately, you see the Caps and Pens always battling it out for those top two spots. Most of the time, lately, the Islanders have been a very solid third and been there. And nobody really expects the Flyers to crack that top two, especially, or even the top three at times. So the fact that he's been able to do that in a Metro that is insanely good this year, all around the whole way through, just about, is impressive.
I agree. Vigneault's done a great job. I had the Flyers in the playoffs coming into this year, so he wouldn't be a finalist for me personally. Okay. I just want to note, it's interesting that, so typically with the Jack Adams, the team that wins the President's Trophy, their coach just seems to automatically be a finalist.
Yeah.
We don't have that this year.
We don't have a clear President's Trophy this year.
We don't have a clear, but let's just say, for debate's sake, right now it'd be the Bruins, so Bruce Cassidy.
Okay.
Do you think he should be a finalist if the Bruins win the President's Trophy?
No.
I agree. And it's weird because I feel like this is the first year in a while that we don't have the President's Trophy winning team's coach as a finalist. And I think it's because you have teams like the Penguins with their injuries, the Blue Jackets, who nobody expected. I'll throw a couple other teams out there that I think, the Minnesota Wild, I think Bruce Boudreau's done a great job with that team. I don't think anybody expected them to even be flirting with a wild card
prior to being let go.
Right. I think that Rick Tocchet in Arizona, if the Coyotes can make the playoffs, should definitely be considered.
Tocchet at the midpoint of the season was a number 2 or 3 on this board. I think a solid number 2, right? Yeah. And I think actually for the next couple years, we're not going to see that President's Trophy winner here because of the Lightning last year, after they had such a historic season. Yeah. And you're supposed to look at regular season for these awards, not necessarily playoffs, because we all know how that turned out for the Lightning.
How did that turn out?
So anyways, after being swept by Columbus, that's why Columbus is here this year again. Anyways, when he was nominated last year and didn't win with 128 points in a season, when a coach isn't even going to come close to that this year, and you know that person isn't going to win anyways with that type of record when they're already expected to be a good team, I just don't think we're going to see that anymore. I think it's going to be heavily on who faced a lot of struggles or who really brought their team from out of the playoffs to a top 3.
I agree. One other name I do want to throw out there, and this is kind of contingent on them making the playoffs, I think, but David Quinn has done a fantastic job in New York. The Rangers, another team, some had them last in the Metro coming into this year, and here they are flirting for a wild card spot as well. So, real quick, who do you think will win, should win?
Sullivan will win, assuming the Pens hold on to the top 2 spot in the Metro. And if they make the first wild card or better, it's tough to say that Tortorella shouldn't win, but I'll give it to Sullivan.
Okay. I think that Tortorella should win, no matter what the Penguins or Blue Jackets even do to this point. I think
Even if the Blue
the
Jackets
fact that they're
miss playoffs.
still here. I think if the Blue Jackets even miss the playoffs, the fact that they are right where they're at
Okay.
is impressive enough that for me, he's done the best job this year of all the coaches.
Okay.
The voting honestly surprises me that Sullivan has like a 20 vote lead on the next guy. And that makes me think that he will win because I wouldn't have expected him to even be there that high up, I should say.
I would expect him to be a top 2.
I'd expect him to be a finalist maybe to this point, but
Okay.
I don't know. So I think he will win.
Okay.
We'll jump to the Norris. Voters right now have John Carlson with 88, Roman Josi with 67, and Victor Hedman with 48. For me, these are the 3 clear favorites.
Easiest category.
Yeah, I don't really
Easiest
think
order.
there's a couple other guys maybe you can make an argument for, but I don't think they should be here. I think these are the 3. I think they nailed it. And honestly, I agree with the order as well. I really don't have much else to say about this.
No?
John Carlson, since the start of the year, has been on fire. And, people might think he's cooled off just because we haven't really been talking about him lately because all the news has come focused on Ovechkin when it comes to the Capitals and his goals. But Carlson has not missed a beat at all this year.
John Carlson cooling off this year means he went from 1.5 a game to like 0.9.
Yeah.
It's just insane.
I mean, the man has, I believe, he has 72 points in 64 games. He's a plus 12. What I love about him also is 47 of his 47 of his 72 points is at even strength as well, which is important for me. As if I was a voter, I would look at that and be really impressed by that.
I don't see any way Carlson doesn't win.
Yeah.
Carlson could get like 10 points in his final 20-some games and with a point per game on the season, and he should still win.
I was going to say,
if he completely drops off.
Yeah, even if he finishes at like 75 points, he's at 72 right now. I think it's still his award. And not to take away, Josi has had a career year, and Victor Hedman's been great as always, but it's Carlson's year. He's run away with it.
Yep.
And far deserving. I think he should and will win.
Agreed.
All right, and then lastly, we have the Hart Trophy. We didn't look up the voting currently for now because I think we wanted this to be more of just our opinions and a debate. For me, there are 3 clear favorites and nobody else really to even consider for this award.
We're probably going to have some different names here. Okay, go
So
ahead.
my 3 that I think should be the clear finalists, and in no particular order, are David Pastrnak, Leon Draisaitl, and Artemi Panarin.
We actually agree on 2 of those.
Why don't you name your 3, then we'll debate a little bit.
Leon Draisaitl, Artemi Panarin, and I have Jack Eichel here.
Jack Eichel. Okay. I can agree with that.
Rewind this clip to 25 seconds ago when Brett said there are 3 clear finalists and nobody else should be here.
No, I respect what you said.
Okay.
But no, I would have Pastrnak there. But here, so my 3 obviously are the top 3 in points in the league, but that's not why they're here. I have them here for different reasons. I think when you look at David Pastrnak, first off, with the amount of goals he's scoring, he's currently second in the league in goals behind Matthews, right? Yes.
Right ahead of Ovechkin, I believe.
Yes. So he's at 90 points. He's a plus 20, and that's the thing that does it for me is he is such a good two-way player. He does it on both ends of the ice. And that Bruins team, sure, they have the perfect line, and Bergeron and Marchand are a big part of that as well. But I think David Pastrnak really drives that line, and without him, if they were to lose him, for example, for the playoffs, I don't see them going far. I think they're done. Pastrnak really is the most valuable player to that team, and I think he should be a finalist. I think it's speaking for himself. 90 points right now in 65 games. That's second in the league, and plus 20.
I'm going to take a lot of hate for what I'm about to say. Pasta. I love the guy. I think he's a great player. I think he's a stand-up guy from what we've seen. Really doesn't do anything dirty.
Commercials.
Right. from the few times he is in the box. But that being said, the Bruins, who are in first to get the President's Trophy right now, and who have a goalie who should or might win the Vezina right now, and who have the perfect line, I know how valuable he is to that team, but that team's still going to win games if he's out. Mm-hmm. And I think that team will still be able to win their first round playoff matchup, no matter who it is at this point, if he's out. The second round is where it starts to get shaky. So that's why, to me, like, he's been incredible, but as far as like most valuable player, I look at it as most valuable to that team and for that team being where they are. So he is not there right now for me.
Okay. So you look at it more like Taylor Hall's year when he won. Like, the Devils were terrible, but Taylor Hall was so valuable to that team that he was deserving.
Unless you are so far ahead like Kucherov was last year, like he had 20 points almost on second. Like that, yeah. So it's tough to say when you have 120 points in a season. You don't deserve it. But yeah, I look at it as pretty much all three of my guys, their teams aren't the best. The Oilers are an exception a little bit right now as they're second, I think, in the Pacific. But it's pretty much the people who have driven their team to be where they are.
It's interesting that you said that, because now I want to talk about Leon Draisaitl and why I don't think he should win the award. So Draisaitl's kind of running away with the Art Ross right now. He's got a 9-point lead over Pasternak, who's second. Pasternak's also leading the league in goals. I was wrong about that. He is leading the league in goals, so which further goes towards my argument. But yeah, Draisaitl's at 99 points in 64 games. 59 of those 99 points at even strength, which is impressive. He's a minus 11. That's more so due to the Oilers, I think, than him. But here's why he shouldn't win the award. Obviously, Connor McDavid is right there. Now,
McDavid's missed some games.
Neither of us have McDavid as a finalist. We have Draisaitl instead, which is kind of a reverse script of years past. But the fact that you have arguably the best player in the world on your team, who is still very much a leader on that team, I think it's just hard to call yourself the most valuable player.
Who you've also been a line mate with for at least 2/3 of the season.
Yeah.
And
so, like, Leon Draisaitl is amazing, and
incredible.
Yes, he would still be putting up very similar numbers if it was just him there. I have no doubt about that. But the fact that it's not just him there makes it really hard for me to sit here and say he's the most valuable player in the league.
And
I mean,
this year he's in that debate. McDavid has missed some games. He has, I think, 17 points on McDavid on the year now, 99 to 82.
99 to 87.
87. So only 12.
12 points, and McDavid has played in 6 less games.
Right.
Yeah.
So 2 points per game. McDavid,
he might catch it.
He might have, like, he would probably be down like 3 points right now.
Yeah.
Roughly. That being said, when you talk about the Oilers, just about everybody talks about the two-headed monster in McDavid and Draisaitl.
Exactly.
You can't give the award to two guys.
It's eerily similar to Crosby and Malkin all those years, which, I mean, they're both still dominant as well, don't get me wrong, but we don't really talk about that as much.
Right.
But it was the same thing there. I mean, yes, Crosby has won a Hart Trophy. I think Malkin has won Art Ross. I'm not sure if he's won a Hart. Maybe for the same reasons we are talking about right now.
We'll have to check that. It's bad we don't know that.
I know Crosby has won one and McDavid has won one. Right. So you kind of feel bad for a guy like Draisaitl in that he is second fiddle to McDavid, and this might prevent him from winning the Hart Trophy. But for those same reasons, I can't sit here and say he should win it. So who I think should win it is Artemi Panarin, who's having a career year, 88 points in 63 games. He's a plus 35, which leads all forwards in the NHL, not defensemen. Ryan Graves has that title, but second in the league in plus minus, which really just shows how he's developed his two-way game. When he first came into the league with Chicago, he was just an offensive player. He's really improved on the defensive end as well. And what I love about Panarin the most is he has 67 even strength points, 67 of his 88. That is a very high percentage. That is also leads the league by a lot. It's not really that close. He has 9 points over Draisaitl, who is the second most even strength points in the league. So the fact that he's doing all this at even strength, which is harder to do, not as much of this is on the power play. Already set a career high in goals, in points. Still got 20 games to go. He might finish tops in the league in points. Probably won't catch Draisaitl, but what he has done for that Rangers team in his first year in New York, really making that contract look good, which some people questioned, including myself, when they gave it to him. And yeah, especially if the Rangers make the
complete
playoffs.
Flip of Bobrovsky's contract.
You know, especially if New York finds themselves in the playoffs, no question to me, Artemi Panarin should win the Hart.
Yeah, I also want to note that a team, because they're not insanely high in the playoff race, that people forget about man games lost is the Rangers. I think every other one of their top 5 or 6 forwards has been out this year at some point in time. And Panarin's still getting it done.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter who he's with. He's getting it done. He's kicking high every single game, just about. It's incredible. Yeah, he is my winner at this point in time.
I think he should win.
I don't think he will.
I'm not convinced he will. And I think a lot of this, again, rides on if the Rangers make the playoffs, which should not be the deciding factor. But you just look at how the voters have voted in the past, and
that's why I think it will already be Draisaitl or Pasta. Yeah. I don't see a way it's not. Jack Eichel, shout out to you. You make my list because I didn't have the Sabres being great this year, and you're basically putting up a career year, I believe.
He is.
Be a career year.
He's
for sure.
A +10 on a bad team. He has got 77 points in 63 games, career high, and with 35 goals.
Another game with a decent amount of man games lost, and you lost Victor Olofsson, who, if he was playing with him the whole time, both numbers would be better.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah, shout out to you. Before, as this is our last category, I want to throw 2 other names out there.
Sure.
Shout out Patrick Kane, because if the Blackhawks were near a playoff spot, I think he would get a little more attention. He's too far down in the points. I think he's 8th. That he won't even be talked about and doesn't deserve to be a finalist. But solid showing on a pretty bad year for the Blackhawks.
Right.
And he has roughly 18 games left. John Carlson is 28 points away from hitting 100. If somehow he hits 100 as a defenseman...
Oh, well, that changes the game, yeah.
Should he be not only... And the Capitals are incredible as a whole, so he probably won't get looked at with Ovechkin and others on that team. But should he deserve the Hart? I don't know. It's tough to give it to a defenseman, but
that would be intriguing.
I think he has to hit 100 if he wants it. Yeah. I don't think 90 isn't enough. As awful as that is, I don't even think 90 makes him a finalist. But
yeah, and while we're throwing names out there, just other honorable mentions. Nathan McKinnon, obviously, always. I mean, he's having a great year. Jonathan Huberdeau of Florida has had a career year as well.
Flies pretty well under the radar.
He really does.
One of the more underrated players.
I mean, 77 points in 64 games. He's getting it done. He's getting it done as well. And then you mentioned Carlson. I was going to bring him up for this as well. I also want to give a shout out to both Scheifele and Connor on Winnipeg, who are both also having career years. And really the only 2 consistent players for the Jets all season. So if the Jets can make the playoffs, maybe they get some more votes, but they won't be finalists.
Right.
And you mentioned also Panarin with the injuries. A lot of it, we all know Mika Zibanejad has also had a career year. Panarin hasn't even played this year with him.
Yeah.
Panarin's on their second line technically. So it really just goes to show also he does get it done. Without those other big guns around him.
That is one other thing for Draisaitl though, because outside of McDavid, they really don't have anybody. So
Nuge, he plays with Nuge.
Oh, he does play with Nuge.
Yeah.
Even more why Draisaitl probably isn't. In my mind, he doesn't quite
It's just so weird to say, like, this guy who's so dominant, and I just don't really think he has a shot of winning this award.
And I think it's tough, because if McDavid had 99 and Draisaitl had 87, we talk about McDavid winning it.
Yeah. And that's also because the voters, it's the name.
A
lot of times with
the
these
name
awards,
carries a lot
it's
of
the
weight.
Name.
Look at the Norse aside from last year for most years.
Yeah, good point. What happened last year?
We broke the streak. Giordanoris. But yeah.
But with that, so this was a very long video. Thank you for listening to the whole thing. Let us know who you think are going to win all of these, and if we missed somebody obvious.
We will reevaluate this after the regular season ends, because that's when it's supposed to be looked at,
right?
Not necessarily postseason.
And then again, obviously, after the awards, as I did last year, I'll summarize all the winners, losers, what we think about it. And we'll know who's on the cover of NHL 21. So, with that, leave a like, comment.
Smash that
your
subscribe button.
Winners. Smash it.
And go follow us on Twitter if you don't already at Top Chair Sport. We're being a lot more active on that.
And go follow us on TikTok if you don't already. We are not very active on that at Top Cheddar Sports. And there'll be your League Bench Talk.
Thanks, guys.